My name is Charlie Summers. I am the data engineering manager over at a tech startup called Merit. We are a digital credentialing platform. We closed our Series B a little over a year ago, about 120 people now. I helped found the data engineering team there, helped build out our data stack, a lot of Snowflake, a lot of dbt, a lot of interacting with the data community, and love going to events, love meeting people, and helping make the community here a vibrant, friendly place.
I'm Yeri Kumala, an analytics engineer at SeatGeek. Started my career in public health and navigated my way to analytics engineer.
My name's Matthew. Commonly go by Maddie or Maddie Two Shoes. That's like my online handle. Speaking of online, I'm online quite a lot. I live stream twice a week on Twitch, promoting data analytics, trying to get people interested or make it a little bit more clear for people who are trying to get into the industry. I am generally pretty interested in tech. I've been in the tech industry now for over 10 years. I started out in web analytics side, like a lot of people, I guess, and transitioned over to being more database heavy. And now I'm kind of all over the place. And although my job title today is data analyst, I like to call myself decision engineer, I would say, because I like to think that I help people make better decisions using data.
Hi, my name is Rebel Baker, and I'm a data champion in the Operational Analytics Club from Vancouver, British Columbia.
My interest in data started about 12, 13 years ago. Was a young teenager using Facebook for the first couple of years, and read an article about what the actual point of Facebook was and what the business model was, and collecting information and using that to advertise. And I thought that was fascinating. I thought that was the kind of the future, where the world was going. So a kid in high school was doing decent in math, decided to go to university and study statistics, because I just did a couple Google searches to figure out how do you get into this data science, data analyst world. Was fortunate, got into a school, completed it, and just from there, just started to work my way through my career. Started as an analyst at a investment management company.
I thought I was going to do more data analytics and science, joining that first job, but it ended up being more of a glorified IT support role. But it was great because I was in a department full of data administrators and really talented SQL developers that got my first real evolution in database development and just my SQL skills. So it was great. After a couple months, just switched jobs and continued through there, and been enjoying it ever since. Kind of walking into a room full of execs or a room full of different non-data people and trying to communicate very important business trends and recommendations in the simplest way possible was awesome. These days, do a little bit more data engineering or analytics engineering and try to build data orgs, at least for the startup I'm in. But it's been a great career, and I'm just fascinated and excited to see where it goes over the next couple of years.
I love working with the coolest, newest, most interesting tools. I love really kind of what I think is so cool about the data space today is how much awesome stuff you can do with so few people in just like compared to what we were doing even just like a couple years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago when I was first getting into the space. So being able to like be at the cutting edge and really get to think deeply about how we handle all of the interesting variety of data problems that we have is like really a ton of fun. And I love that kind of as the data community continues to grow, it's not just like data gets bigger. Like I think there's recently been a push towards this notion that most companies deal with like relatively small data, gigabytes, maybe a few terabytes. So like, what are all the other things that we actually are spending our time dealing with? whether it's like understanding lineage or just like making it so that we can really understand permissioning within a tool like Snowflake or whatever it is that like provide all these other interesting problems and opportunities for innovation.
My favorite part is getting people excited about the data and seeing how it could be helpful to them. So I've been calling it data coaching. I really like the idea of getting people to not be scared of what's available, of data and numbers, but also just see like how it can make their work more efficient, easier, and how they can better tell their story. So that's my favorite part.
My name's Matthew. Commonly go by Maddie or Maddie Two Shoes. That's like my online handle. Speaking of online, I'm online quite a lot. I live stream twice a week on Twitch, promoting data analytics, trying to get people interested or make it a little bit more clear for people who are trying to get into the industry. I am generally pretty interested in tech. I've been in tech industry now for over 10 years. I started out in web analytics side, like a lot of people, I guess, and transitioned over to being more database heavy. And now I'm kind of all over the place. And although my job title today is data analyst, I like to call myself decision engineer, I would say, because I like to think that I help people make better decisions using data.
Favorite part of the job is honestly just finding an insight or challenging the presumed problem. Um, Sometimes the stakeholders or the business will come to you and they think they know what the problem is, and they'll tell you to find a solution for it. Revenue is going this direction. Can you find out why? But sometimes you realize that you're not asking the right question, and everyone's focused on the wrong question. And when you're able to uncover that and present what's actually happening in the business, it's really rewarding. It changes everyone's frame of mind. Um, uh, and that's kind of the beauty of analytics. It's really not just answering questions and doing always what you're told, but really looking through all lenses of the business and try to solve the real problems that exist.
One of the big challenges that we've been pushing forward on a lot, and that we're not all the way there yet, but we're trying to be, is thinking really critically about like data security and who can access data at what time. We at Merit, we work mostly with government data. So we partner with state and local governments and kind of handle the data for their constituents. So we need to make sure and be like as fine-grained as possible to make sure that only the perfect basically everything is locked down by default. And how do we make it so that someone that when a customer needs us to go in and like really deeply dissect their data, we can grant access to that, but the rest of the time make it so that it's completely like ironclad. And I think that right now we have erred on the approach of like be ironclad all the time, but like every once in a while a customer still needs us to get in and really do something like nuanced and fine grained, where they do need access to just that customer specific data. So I think that's a problem that we are still developing the processes around and making sure that we can that customers know what we're doing, and in general our like customers and their constituents are put in the driver's seat so that they know what's going on. But I mean, like the long-term solution is how do we give customers the keys so that we can get in when we need to, but then the second that they want us to stop looking at their actual raw data and just have like an encrypted version of that data or something like that, we can once again we won't have access anymore, and we can't we like actually can't see their data. So some of the data security stuff is something that I'm thinking about a lot right now.
So right now, as an analytics engineer, I feel like it means different things in different places. Just like many data roles out there, right? Every company approaches it differently. So what's challenging is just making sure that I'm focusing on the right things for what we need as a company right now. So is it like leaning more on the data engineering angle because we have like a really robust data team that can do a lot of the stakeholder management? So it's kind of cool. You're focusing on a different set of problems, but it's just being able to pick those up really quickly and figure out what's the need right now. Is it, hand holding and defining things, or is it just like jump in and problem solve and build, build, build?
It is the problem solving. I really enjoy the aspect of taking a problem or taking some kind of desire from the business that someone has, could be from us or it could be from another team, and breaking it down until we really understand all the little bits and intricacies and dependencies, and then finding out more about those individual parts, and then sort of figuring out how they fit together, and then ultimately guiding that towards some kind of decision, and then monitoring how that decision impacts the business. That's just the really fascinating thing about it for me.
The most challenging part, I think, is communicating the importance of a strong data organization and data culture. I think sometimes, depending on the organization, you kind of want to make do with as little as possible. But sometimes in data, like actually setting up your warehousing and making sure that everyone's aligned in the company of what definitions means is it's something that doesn't have an immediate ROI. It takes a lot of work, and sometimes that's hard to complete. But it's rewarding once you're able to convince or work with stakeholders to believe in these type of activities, and it's really rewarding once you go from different teams developing their own Google Sheets ad hoc reports to everyone in the company's aligned on a single focus and working together.
Where I came from historically was like the more software engineering path, but for whatever reason, the data community has consistently just been like more friendly and open. And what that means for me is I am participating more actively. I am, in there sharing memes and just like having a good time. And it maybe feels a little bit less like everyone's trying to like outsmart each other or one up.
Yeah, less dog eat dog.
Yeah, well, and it's I think that there's more of this recognition that like pretty much everybody in the like there every once in a while you're like you chat with somebody who really has been in the data space for like north of a decade, but really a lot of us have only been here for a couple of years, and most of us, even if we have been here for a decade, like the new tooling that exists now wasn't what we were using 3 years ago. So we're all still kind of perpetually in this like in this growth mindset and like needing to like learn the newest things and knowing that we don't know everything. So I think the community, like a community that is not just accepting of that, but like really supportive of that and trying to bring people in and like boost people up, has been super beneficial to me, has helped me get up to speed on tools faster, has helped me like deal with whatever lingering imposter syndrome is always plaguing us, and just help me I don't know, feel like this is a place where if I go out and act my weird self, I'm going to be appreciated and accepted instead of like, nah, not that guy.
It's a great place to build thought partnerships, like find people who are like-minded, but also I was in a lot of startups before moving over to SeatGeek. And so when you're used to being part of a much smaller team, it's hard to really kind of know what others are doing. So it's a great place to understand what are the best practices, like what are real life examples outside of what you see in the textbooks, and also like find other champions who would support you in your work and be great sounding boards and just like help you navigate how to grow in this career. And so I really value the different data communities. I value like being able to help support that as well.
Community for me is more than just about people coming together with shared interests. For me, community is about exchange of knowledge, because I believe that education or knowledge exchange is the great equalizer of our generation. I think that is what has the power to really change things for the planet, for people individually, is understanding different points of view, understanding different technologies, understanding different approaches. And that only happens through exchange with others. That can't happen by you being stuck in a bubble, only thinking for yourself. You need to be exposed to controversial opinions. Like I personally have a vendetta against right join. I think that a right join has no place in this world, and there needs to be, yeah, everyone kind of needs to have their own thing and their own agenda. But ultimately, we need to come together and also breed a bit of consensus on things too. So that's the value in having community, is that exchange and that power of the collective knowledge.
The data industry is changing every month. There is always a new tool. There's always a new trend, and having a community of data professionals of all seniorities and experience levels really gets you to understand what's happening in this industry and lets you kind of be ahead of the curve, or at least on the curve. Also, depending on the organization that you work in, sometimes you might be the only data professional at your company, and you're trying your best to solve a problem. But it's great when you have other peers to talk to and explain problems, and that's something that the OA Club has been amazing with. That you can talk to other data professionals and say, hey, I'm having this problem implementing this tool. Can you suggest this? And then you might get a response, hey, there's actually a much simpler way of doing this. And that's the importance of community. And I've become a stronger analyst and data professional just being around like-minded individuals.